You should turn off the lights.
Hello. Okay, well, you did hear that Lex said that we should turn off the lights. But we're back.
Hello.
And this is another recording. Once again, an apology to whoever's been listening to us. We have been delinquent again. I mean, geez.
We've been on a little unexpected hiatus, but all is well.
Yes. All is well with us, that's for sure.
Yes.
You know, over everything that's been happening, I think that it's brought to my mind, one of these questions. And the question really is, just because you can, should you?
Well, that is a very interesting point, I must say.
And, you might be asking yourself, so what are you talking about? I mean, and this could go a couple different ways. I mean, it could be the sense that just because you can get away with it, should you do it? Or
just because you have the means to do it, just because you can, sort of like an entitlement thing.
Right. There's two different paths. And, I've really been thinking about that, especially in terms of what's been happening in the political arena as of late.
Has something specific spurred your thought about this? I mean, I know that enough has happened, certainly, in the past 126 days. My goodness.
God, has it only been 126 days?
But I mean specifically about the subject at hand.
Well, I mean, I think that, just because there's not a legal recourse, so in other words, it's not illegal, so I can just do it. I mean, I think that there should be a higher bar.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I think that, no, there's nothing written that says that technically, I don't know, like, for example, you can't keep as much money as you make. But should you? Should you really? Shouldn't you think about other people? Shouldn't you think about society? Shouldn't you be an active member in society? Shouldn't you give back? I mean, some people might say I'm crazy right now, but you've always said that I'm a little crazy. But
I know what you mean. It's like, just, is there not some sort of thing in people you would like to think there's a sense of service, a sense of community, a sense of service as a member of the community that they're in?
And I feel like right now there really is just like, as long as I'm okay, then I'm not really that concerned about anybody else. And that's not really how I was raised. But, and it does have, I think, an effect on society as a whole. When you see people, now I'm going to I just had a vision. Okay, so I take Bart in the morning and it's always an adventure. But yesterday, and this is okay, this bugs me because you know how I am about rules, right? So there's no eating.
My Chris loves herself some rules.
There's no eating or drinking on the BART, right?
Oh dear.
No eating.
Somebody was snacking.
No drinking on the BART. And you know why? Because people, and this is a generalization, people sometimes do not clean up after themselves. And so you get garbage on the BART and that's why there's no eating on the BART, right? And so even if somebody says, I'm going to clean up my garbage on the BART, who wants to smell their Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever they have? I don't want to smell it. So yesterday, this woman, okay, two things annoyed me. This woman gets on the BART and she takes up the entire seat. Now, it's not like she needs the entire seat, but she sits at the window and puts her bag on the seat so nobody else can sit there.
Right.
And it's kind of crowded. And then she proceeds to pull out a full-on meal. A full-on meal. And she ate the meal on the BART. And the woman that was sitting in front of me just looked at her and she was like shaking her head. I was like, I feel you. Because that is one of these things where there's an agreement. There should be an agreement if you're going to ride the BART.
An understanding.
That you need to follow the rules.
And that they're there for the benefit of everybody as a community, the community that is
right.
BART riders.
Right.
Yes.
But I got somebody with a full-on, I don't know, chicken meal, whatever the hell she had, abusing. And who's going to come up to her and say, would you please put your... Nobody's going to do it. So it's almost like people know that that's not going to happen.
Right. They know that they can, and they go ahead and
so
do
they
it.
just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that irritates me.
Mm-hmm. Was this your morning ride or your evening
That was
ride?
the evening.
Well, at least that's better than 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my God. Well, no, I had somebody in the morning,
having themselves an egg McMuffin.
Having breakfast down there. It's just kind of like...
I know that just must irritate you terribly.
I think that, see, this is how all of that disarray starts in society. It just takes one. It's like The Walking Dead.
Yes,
it's like
one bad apple.
It's like everybody agrees that everybody's going to share, and then people start rioting and like breaking out windows, and then here you go. It's chaos.
I feel like we've strayed a little bit from the first intention of just because you can, should you?
But I think that is a blatant display of, oh yeah, they can, because nobody's roaming.
Stop them.
Nobody's roaming BART saying put your food away.
Yeah.
Let's face it, you're not going to get a ticket. But okay, let's get back to what that means for you.
Well, I'm trying to remember like what the premise was that we were talking about initially with the just because you can, does that mean you should? And I can't recall what the actual incident was where this came up. But to me it seems more like the idea of somebody who can do something because of their position in society, because of their position in politics, because of their socioeconomic position, that kind of thing. Those sort of things that allow people to do a lot of things that, yes, there's no law against it, but is it the right thing to do? So that's what I think of when I think of that. And I think it's a very multi-pronged question. I think about things like in the world of nursing, in the world of hospitals and stuff. Just because you can go to extraordinary measures and save a life, should you? It's not always that simple. It's not always so black and white. Sometimes there's other factors at play. So just always things to think about. That's all I've got to say about it, really.
Well, I'll always have the final kind of like, my answer is no. Just because you can, no, you shouldn't.
Well, I think it has to be a case-by-case basis.
There needs to be more thought involved in the action rather than, I can do it, so I'm just going to do it. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Like to not do it impulsively just because you can, whatever the action is.
Yes, impulse control, and really understanding what the ramifications are if you do that, and that there is a sequela. There is not just you. There's other things and people involved.
I think that that's actually the right answer, Chris. I think you wrapped that up very nicely.
All right. I think that wraps up our episode for tonight. Sweet dreams, everybody.
Sweet dreams, everyone. Bye.